Hi, sir. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning all. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. You.
Good morning.
Hey, others, please turn on your cameras.
Let's wait for another 1 2 minutes for
Yeah, sure.
others to join also. Till then, let's start. We have formed 4 teams here, and each team will be assigned different and separate tasks. Okay, the tasks are already given in the chat itself. So, let us talk to the team leads. Here is Prakhar Khare.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so Prakhar, you know your team members.
Yes, sir, I know.
Yeah, I believe most of them will be sitting with you there at Bangalore itself.
Yes, sir. Deepak is right next to me. Nirala is just behind me, and so is Anish.
Okay, that is good. Apart from this, Gautam Mani. Gautam Mani,
Yes, sir. Good morning.
good morning. And your team members, you
Yes,
have
sir. They are all in Bangalore. Yes.
all in Bangalore. Okay. So Prakhar and Gautam, you both have a team of 6 members, including you both. Okay. Prakhar,
Yes.
your team is 6 member team. Gautam, your team is 6 member team, and all are in Bangalore. Now, Mayank Sharma.
Yeah. Hi, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Mayank.
Yeah.
And
So
your
my
team
most of
is,
the yeah,
yeah,
my most of the team members were from I guess Jammu, and one of them is here. One is on a sick leave. So, but we had a little chat like on generic meeting, yeah, and
okay, okay,
so yeah, we're collaborating.
okay. So, Mayank,
Yeah.
in your team, Mateen and Sanjay both are at Jammu itself. You are
Mateen,
at Bangalore.
yeah, three people are from like outside.
And third one is,
Japneet as well. Japneet as well.
okay, Japneet is at what place? Japneet is here.
It's
Sir, I'm working remotely right now from Kashmir.
Okay, you are from Kashmir. Okay. So, Japneet, Sanjay, and Mateen, they are working remotely. Now, where's Vanchika Navya?
she is actually on a sick leave. She got dengue or something.
Okay, so I believe she must also had not attended the previous 3
No,
sessions.
she has
Yes,
not.
sir. She did not attend not even a one single class. Matlab, from the starting
Okay,
itself. Yeah.
okay, so she is not in line. And this Vadala Mani, Vadala Mani.
Yeah,
I'm
he's with
from.
me here. Venkat, like Sumant, yeah.
Okay, fine. So, right now, Mayank, you have 5 active members in your team,
Yes.
including you,
Yeah.
because Vanshika is on sick leave. 2 of you are at Bangalore, and 3 are at other locations.
Yes, sir.
Fine. Now, Muhammad Saplain.
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning, Muhammad Saplain. Now, the thing is, you have uh, 5 team members in your team, including you. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Uh, they all are at Bangalore.
Yes, sir. All are at Bangalore.
Okay. Anyone on leave or all are present there right now?
All are present here, sir.
Okay. So that is fine. So we are being introduced to our 4 teams. That is something great. So let me share my screen. Start the actual. My screen is visible to you.
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Perfect. So as mentioned earlier in the chat itself, today we'll be focusing on these 4 tasks. Okay. We have 4 teams. Each team will be assigned individual task and they'll be doing that particular task. Before giving you the task itself, I'll briefly introduce you to the terminologies and the various things what you will be going through. So Prakhar, you had message yesterday itself that
Yes, sir.
in these tasks I had given in different operating systems for different sort of tasks itself. Yes, you are right that all these web servers, FTP servers, DNS servers, NFS servers can be installed on a single Linux operating system. But now here we have 4 different teams with different team members, and each team will be assigned different tasks. Now, one of the team means members of team 1 will basically install Oracle Linux on their VM.
Okay, sir.
Okay. And then on Oracle Linux, using that particular repository, you know what repositories are, how basically packages are being installed in the Linux.
Yes, sir. I have an
Means
idea. Like
you
I have installed
idea.
whatever was needed, but
So
not in depth.
in unit, not sure. We'll be doing all these things in the workshop sessions, right? So in Unix itself, in Ubuntu itself, we use apt as a package manager, apt. In CentOS, we use YUM as package manager or all this thing. So the repositories which are being fetched, like the installables, are being controlled by these YUM. Means different operating systems, variants of Linux operating system will be using different sort of like YUM in case of CentOS, apt in case of Ubuntu, and few other like that. Now the main motive behind this is to introduce you people to different sort of repository structures. You as a team will be having hands-on on Oracle Linux. You will be collaborating with other teams who will be having installed the FTP server on Linux CentOS. Now the third one will be using Ubuntu for installing DNS server over it. Now the beauty will be team 1 will be installing HTTP or web server. Team 2 will be installing FTP server. Now their servers will be assigned the IP addresses. Now how to serve those IP addresses within amongst yourselves to the other? Now DNS will come into picture. You will have to give a domain name, fully qualified domain name, FQDNS, to the web server's IP address. Means A records, zoning will be created and configuration will be done. Now, the testing will be like if I want the access of the web servers installed by team 1, I'll be putting the name of team member .translab.com in my web browser, while in your network itself, because it will be local sort of infrastructure, it will be local sort of domaining. So I'll be putting that particular thing in web server, and your sample web page can be should be displayed. So that will be sort of test for. So here, DNS server team need to collaborate with the HTTP web server team as well as FTP server team. If I want, in the similar manner, I want to have the FTPSS without IP addresses of the server. So I'll be using fully qualified domain name whose configuration and zones will be created by collaborative measures of DNS team, FTP team, and HTTP. So there the collaboration will come into picture. Now DNS team then need to get to know about how FTP server was being installed, what is Linux CentOS, how they had procured the packages. So in this particular fashion, you all people will get to know about each other variants. Means The DNS team will obviously be installing the things on their Ubuntu platform, but they'll be going to collaborate with the team who has installed the things on Oracle Linux. They'll get the idea how the things will be working. Same here, NFS server. It is a bit different because it uses the file system mountings. I'll check whether the team 4 or any team who will be assigned this NFS server task, he will be divided into two different sub teams. One will be installing NFS server, another will be installing NFS client, and their internal testing will be done in the particular fashion. If all the things will go fine, then in advanced level, we can always use the file system being mounted by NFS server as the HTTP web server's file system. So that is some advanced thing. If the things will go well, we can always take this step. Understood? All the people? Perfect. So let us first scrutinize through all the 4 teams for your knowledge base, and according to that, we will be assigning you the tasks. So to start with, let me first show you what these things. You know what a web server is. Basic knowledge you have, why web servers are being used, what is the reason behind using web servers. Anyone? Okay. Okay. Gautam, you know what web server is?
Yes, yes, sir. For instance, it does the purpose of serving the client's requests. If I talk about the literal meaning, that when a client requests on the internet, the web server
Okay.
does the task of providing them with the corresponding result that is stored on those servers, like a web page or any other information that is requested.
Very good. To start with, in a very, you can say, simple manner, we will not be going into advanced things and all, to make you people learn the basic terminologies flawlessly and have crystal clear concept. We will take basics. Web server is what? It is a server. You know, client server model, and another one is peer-to-peer model. In client-server model, the various clients are being served by a centralized server. So they'll all be connecting to a centralized server for the resource hunger. Means if they want any resource to be on procured, they basically call a centralized server, which can be web server, which can be FTP server, which can be an NFS server, which can be a mail server, MX record server, or anything. Servers are of many different types. But basic terminology in client server model, various different clients can interact with a single centralized server to get their requests fulfilled. And in another model, which is peer-to-peer. In peer-to-peer, each individual networking device or my end device, means my laptop or my any other mobile phone, they directly interact with another peer device, which can be similar. Means a mobile can connect to a laptop can connect to another laptop, or a mobile can connect to another mobile to have their requests fulfilled. Basic and very basic example of this is torrents. Had any one of you used torrents?
Yes, sir.
Torrent
Yes, sir.
for what purpose?
Yes, sir. Down.
For free
So
software,
download
I guess.
pirated software,
Free
games,
movies.
software,
Pirating
movies.
software.
It's basically torrent was meant for peer-to-peer networking and mostly being used for piracy itself. That is okay. Now the thing is, torrent use peer-to-peer model. In torrents, what happens? My mobile or my laptop connects to another mobile or laptop. Means if I'll be downloading a free movie, maybe a pirated movie or anything, what underlying a torrent system works and why torrents are being so popular in piracy? Because there is no centralized control, no centralized server which can be shut by any government organization. This is power of torrent. Means in any other way, means if you had heard of what is Tamil something, a free pirated website, a pirated movie website, Tamil something from Tamil Rockers or
Tamil
Tamil
Rockers.
Rockers. Hmm.
you heard of this that particular website?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in that website, it uses client server model that host all the movie files on the servers, the web servers, and clients like our web browsers connect to that web server using any HTTP request and then fetches and downloads that particular movie on our mobile or laptop. So that works on client server model. Means all the files or the pirated movies are being stored into a centralized server. No, normally those particular servers are being installed or working from somewhere which some place which don't comes under direct government or like maybe US government their control. That's why they are basically using freely those things for piracy itself. That is some different model. But another way is torrents, where no centralized server is used and file. And if you had used torrent, you must know the terminologies of seeding, seeders, leechers.
Leechers.
You know
Yes, sir.
what seeders are and what leechers are?
So seeders are the, like you can say, who have the full chunk of file stored on their
Mhm.
computer, whether it's the
Uh,
origin or after the downloading, means after the
First,
leeching part is done, a leecher
first,
becomes a seeder. And peers
first.
are who share the minimum chunks, means like in between we can like if I have downloaded 1 GB and that 1 GB is being downloaded by other person, so that becomes peer network. And leechers are who are totally downloading from it, not sharing the files back onto the network.
Perfect, Gautam. So if you know all these terminologies and all other people, if they all know this terminology, then I expect you know that the files are being downloaded from each other's computers. One person, if he had downloaded the file, then he will be sharing that file to other persons. So this is where peer-to-peer networks comes in. It's no central server. All peers are distributors. All peers are users. So this is how a terminology works. So I believe if this is your standard, then I must also raise my standard of teaching here because I, I prepared myself to start you with very basics of networking and computers. I now think need not to give from that very basics. So I was thinking to give you basic understanding of networking. Walk through very fast way. You know network topologies?
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
If anyone from you is not getting the point or not getting the concept, please feel free to interrupt. I don't want anyone to be barred from knowledge. Network definition, very basic. what is file folder print, and this all you know. Communication, data structure, data security concerns, local wide area networks, and metropolitan, you all know. You all know basically the concept of IP addresses, how wide area network works, what are various modes. You know optical fiber communication, OFCs?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Most of you, I believe, in home or anywhere using fiber connections. So you will be very well versed with those technologies. So that you know OSI, 7-layer OSI model.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All of you know now.
Yeah.
Perfect. So layer one basically is physical layer where comes the Cat6 cable, Ethernet cables, or optical fiber cables, or the physical, may it be a sort of, you can say, microwave communication or radio wave communication. You know what 802.11 is? Heard of this 802.11?
It's the Ethernet.
Protocol.
It's an Ethernet.
802.11 has
Wi-Fi
various
Wi-Fi
other-
standard it is,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yes, it is a Wi-Fi standard, maybe NGVA. So it is basically wireless communication. And all these protocols are being devised by IEEE, IEEE, engineering standards. So in our Wi-Fi networks, you must have. So this all is basically layer one. I'm saying you in OSI model, these all are layer one. So this is using radio wave communications. Wi-Fi is what? Wi-Fi is a radio wave communication. So you must always had use your Wi-Fi access points. Right now, maybe most of you are using Wi-Fi access points to connect your mobiles or laptops to the office network. So there are two modes or two different type of SSID. You heard of 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz band?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
What is the difference between these both?
Different frequencies.
Yes, and in
One is for
layman's language,
the
yeah,
longer range and other is for faster speeds but shorter range.
perfect.
That is
Which one is
5
for 5 gigahertz is for shorter
faster
range
faster
and
speed
faster
and
speed.
shorter range.
speed. Perfect. And 2.4 GB is gigahertz is basically a slower speed, but range is high. This is why, because frequency. Higher the frequency is, higher it will penetrate to the adjoining things. Means it will not basically penetrate outside a wall. It will be absorbed inside the wall itself. So lower the frequency, the farthest it can go. It can penetrate through the walls, wood, or anywhere. So this is where frequency comes into the picture. Now, if how many of you have fiber connections or have configured their access points by their own in their home?
Yes, sir.
Anyone had configured the access point?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. So now the question here is, you will be configuring your assessment. So what assessment you had configured? The you have what fiber connection? Geo or Airtel Extreme
Geo fiber.
or any other? Geo fiber. So they you had configured their ONT device or network terminal device
Yes,
assessment,
sir.
or you
One
have
of
purchased
their
their
devices.
one of their devices. You have logged into that particular console by using 192.168.29.1.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Logged into that by using the default username password.
Yes. The first time using the default username password.
Perfect. So what you configured in there? What you changed?
I was experimenting and there was SSID and the port network gateways and there were 2, 3 more addresses.
Yeah. Perfect.
So
So the thing why I am asking you all these
and the security, WPA, personal security, and all those.
perfect. SSID, security, WPA, whatsoever you want, you can configure. But now Jio has restricted most of the functionalities to be configured in their ONTs by end users by locking the firmware of their ONT devices. So they physically their particular ONT devices or routers whatsoever are installed in our homes, they can have USB ports behind them, and we can always use our hard drives or our pen drives there to have a FTP server. It has hardware functionality to serve the contents of your hard drive or pen drive in an internal network using FTP protocol. But they have locked that functionality. You can't configure the FTPSS. Why? Because they want to promote their Jio Home app. You can only use that functionality using their Jio Home app, and they'll then serve you with the advertisements over there, the revenue generator sort of thing. But as computer engineers, you can always have a yearning to crack the things. You can always go and experiment with the router, change the settings there, and make that particular FTPSS available with you so that you can leverage the benefit of that. So this is somewhat how a mentality should be. Means if you will be doing like this now, then always you will be learning, and that particular learning will come into picture anyways. Means those things learned will be used in the industry because basics are the same. Okay, so we had gone far enough in this particular topology. Coming back to the question. Now, our main motive here is to give tasks to proteins. First is HTTP server. I had a talk with people and understood that both of or most of you understand what this particular HTTP server is, what client server model is, what this peer-to-peer model is, and afterwards you always are familiar with internet. How many of you know what this particular TCP/IP is? TCP/IP, difference between TCP and UDP.
So TCP is more of software based, and the other thing is more of hardware based, I would say, in layman's terms. Like TCP is transfer control protocol, which actually resolves the particular IP address online into a DNS, which is actually a kind of tool for resolving it into a DNS. And the other thing, UID is more of a hardware base, which uses the MAC address of a particular machine.
I'm not saying UID, I'm saying UDP.
Said I do not remember its full form, but as far as I remember it, it is based on the MAC address of a particular machine.
User datagram protocol.
User datagram
Exactly.
protocol. And another one is TCP, not hardware. And these basically relates to how the end-to-end communication will go in a stateful manner or stateless manner, in a synchronous or asynchronous manner. These are connection-based protocol TCP, and another one is connection-less protocol. So not to they are basically not compared in terms of hardware and software sort of thing. Both are similar sort of protocols. One uses connection orientation, means end-to-end connection will be preserved till all the data or communication is completed. And another one, the packets moves in connection-less way, means the datagrams go like the packet following the first packet can be received in the end point before the other. So means it is connectionless sort of thing. to know. So what HTTP is? Hypertext Transfer Protocol.
Transfer protocol.
So it is used for basically
Connecting to a
website,
website
right?
or DNS.
When we are sending or receiving information from the web servers, like websites.
Yes, yes. And another one is FTP. So what is FTP?
File transfer
File transfer
protocol.
protocol.
Okay. And this particular is used to transfer files. So one question
The
from my
files.
side here. This FTP uses peer-to-peer model or client server?
Client servers.
Yes, this uses client server model. Now, this is what client server means. We had always talked of this. This is peer-to-peer. How client server requests the policies. These are basic topologies. So I'll not be discussing this part because all people know. Now, as we already had discussed the HTTP server, now the question arises on Linux itself, because in our task structure we had given that to configure and install HTTP web server on Oracle Linux. So, have any idea how these particular packages are being installed on the Linux? How these things? Have you ever installed any other packages on your Linux system? Anywhere?
Yes, sir. So, like, the process I have done is I googled up the package which was required for the particular task, and there was just a basic line that install this repository, install this package, like the address or the name just itself. It automatically calls it up and downloads it and installs it on Linux. Like,
This is this is what all the engineers basically do. They all Google the things. They all use Stack
yes,
Overflow.
sir.
They all use the things. And with experience, again, then you will be sharing your knowledge on these platforms for others to use. Like this is, you can say, take and give model. Means on Stack Overflow, if I am beginner, I use those particular websites or use those platforms to get my jobs done. Then when I'll become a senior itself, when I'll become a more advanced user, then always I can put my knowledge in those blogs itself, because I had used those blogs to get my seniority, to get the knowledge what I had, based what I had been on. So it will be time to share back to the communities. So this is how these models are working. This is where, let us say, now I had install. I had written on Google itself, install web server on Oracle Linux. This was our task first. Oracle has given a documentation here. Oracle is saying how to simply install Oracle. These are various commands on Linux. Like if you people had gone through the training part, what I had given you 2-3 days before, the Linux training, you must have, and you had gone through other YouTube videos or other, you must have known that what this sudo means, what this DNF is, what this command means. So, any one of you know what sudo is?
Substitute user to do.
It is a kind of replace.
Why this sudo used in commands now?
so
We
in
can use
Windows, like we run an application like run as administrator. In Linux, sudo gives us the ultimate rights or permissions to access all the functions we would use or
Yes, it gives us a per user permission sort of administrative privilege. So there are memes over the internet on sudo, like if you write now sudo sudo has different sort of, few people have t-shirts written sudo something something.
Yes, sir.
So it can nuke out the operating system. Beauty of Linux is it normally don't restricts you from doing anything. You can always go and configure their kernel part by using commands. You can always configure their memory management. May it nuke their system, but Linux expects you people to be very informed and knowledgeable enough to have those things. Means Linux is called operating system made by engineers for engineers. To use Linux, we must be proficient in it. So it normally don't, it treats their user as professionals. So these sort of things comes into picture. Now this is how basically in industry initially we start using our we start completing our task. We go Google out the things, a page or document will come into picture. We need to follow those particular commands in a religious manner. Now the thing what restricts normally few people from using these commands is they are not actually aware of what this particular command is doing. What is the working of this command? To follow the documents, first start following what this command or this particular step means. When you will be literally searching the things on YouTube, Google, or anywhere, you'll get knowledge of what actually the things are going on and how the things will be processed. So, in further other moves, or in you can say other task completions, you will get experience. By doing, you can get experience. You will be gaining the knowledge. So this is how to basically install a web server package in 3-4 commands. Afterwards, it is given how to configure. Most of you, I believe, know what ports are. And on web server or HTTP, what port is used? Know what port is used in communication of a web server? What is default port number?
22, I think.
22.
That is
no.
SSH,
What?
but so like for HTTP it's 80, for HTTPS
Yes.
it is 443.
Yes. Perfect. For HTTP, it is 80 number port. For HTTPS, it is 443. Yes. And for 22 is for SSH. Ever logged in into any virtual machine or any other using PuTTY? Any of you use PuTTY
Yes,
for
yes, sir.
SSH? So
Yes, sir.
SSH is also a protocol what uses 22 number port. FTP uses what port number?
21.
21. Yes. And a bit less. SMTP use what port number? What SMTP is?
It's like messaging protocol.
Yeah, sample mail transfer protocol. Yes.
Ends with 3, I guess, sir. I'm forgetting it.
No. But actual reason why I am asking these questions is to get to know that on what knowledge base you are standing so that we can forward from that particular knowledge base. It normally uses 25 numbers. Okay.
Sir, I wasn't aware of the port numbers for these protocols. So
Yeah.
I'm
That
standing
is
there.
yes. Not. That is why we want these particular sessions as technical discussions. In very, you can say, lightweight technical discussions. You people, I, myself, and all are equal here. Mm, Don't ever shy off that if I don't know this particular thing, then maybe someone will judge me. No. If you will have mentality that someone will be judging you out, then you will not be gaining the things. You will hesitate to question. No. The thing is, let us be friends. Let us talk each and every what I can say shortfall I have in my knowledge base. While discussing, we'll be on similar plane. Means whatsoever knowledge I'll have while discussing, I'll be transferring that knowledge to you. Whatsoever knowledge the other guy like Prakhar has, he'll be transferring to other person, and any other person like if these people have, I believe, and normally it is all people have their positives and negatives. All people know something what I don't know. Any other people know what something other people not know. I know something which you people don't know. While discussing those things, while having on a similar plane, we'll be transferring our knowledge, and in the end of the sessions, we'll all be on same page. Means all the knowledges will add up. So this is main motive. Now, if you are saying prefer not being having the knowledge of these port numbers, but to summarize it up, normally in computer networks we have IP addresses. IP addresses are used basically to communicate. Various computing devices communicate to each other using IP addresses. Now, all these things like DNS, servers, FTP server, NFS server. These are servers. These are basically installed on some operating systems and will be serving their own requests. HTTP web server will be serving the web pages to the clients, client server model. FTP server is client server model. It will be serving the files to the clients, and the files will be on server itself. NFS is a bit different. It is also client server model, but it mounts its file system to the other clients itself. Means a NFS server's storage or the storage connected to a NFS server, that particular file structure can be mounted on the other client's file system. Means I'll be showing you how NFS. This is it. You know, this is the directory structure in Linux: root directory, home, export, local, any other directory. You are aware of the directory structure in Linux? Like in Windows, we have drives: C drive, D drive, E drive. In C drive, we have Windows folder and other program file folder. You know these things?
No, sir.
In Windows, normally, how we operate? In my laptop, we have different drives now. I have C drive, D drive, E drive, or any. An operating system normally resides in C drive, which is system drive. Any of you can share your screen so that I can. Prakhar, if you can share your screen.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, just share it out. Perfect. So these are the drives. One is OSC, another one is PK Trib D, another one is Nice E. So these are drives. Double click C drive. We have different folders inside it. Like one is Windows, where all the Windows operating systems binaries are there. We have program files. These are the we have system32 inside Windows, which have basically go outside Windows in normal C drive. Here we have program files in x86 and other one. x86 is for 32-bit, programs, and program files normal is for 64-bit. You know what basically 64-bit and 32-bit operating systems are?
Yes, sir. The architectures of the OS.
Architecture. And it is based on what the underlying processor are. What we
Yes, sir.
we can always install operating system with 64 bits on a underlying hardware processor which is 64-bit processor. Actually, 64-bit is processor's architecture topology. Means the bus bit, bandwidth of bus. You know what bus is? Processors.
Yes, sir.
So basically, in a microprocessor, we have different structures. We have registers. If you had heard of those things, we have cache memory. Align. This is only what I am saying of processor. Means we have Intel's Core i7, i5, i3. These are the processors normally what we use. And for AMD, we have Ryzen 5, Ryzen 7, Ryzen 3. So these are all 64-bit processors. In these processors, the main components are registers, the logical, arithmetical and logical unit, ALU. The one is cache memory. And you will be searching or comparing different processors to use in your laptop or to purchase a laptop. So always there it will be written that this processor is having 8 MB of cache 3. Cache is L1, L2, L3 cache memory, 3 types of. And afterwards, it will be showing this is having this much of gigahertz as speed. That is clock speed. You can see added the transistors inside the processor charge discharge. And afterwards, we have registers and cache memory also. Why I am discussing this all with you, the number of registers in 64-bit processor will be 64 registers. Fastest is register. In hierarchy, I can say fastest memory anywhere is register memory. Afterwards, we'll be having cache memory. L1 is fastest, L2 is bit slower, L3 is more slower. So L1 will be least memory, means smaller. L2 will be larger in processors, L3 will be bit more larger. This is how all the actual processing architecture, processors architecture works. So now coming on to the point over here is what I was asking here is a directory structure. Now I'll always share my screen to show you. My screen is visible.
Yes, sir.
So likewise in Windows, we have CDE drives. In Linux, we have / means root directory. This is directory structure. Inside root directory, like in Windows, we have inside C drive, we have different folders. These are different directories. In Linux, we call folders as directories. So this is home folder, export, local folder, like etc will be a folder, like mnt will be a folder, like dev will be a folder in Linux. So this is directory structure. Inside any of the home directory, we can have different custom-made folders or directories. So if you had used Linux, you know the command to create a directory, change a directory, make a directory. Had you ever heard of commands cd, md, mkdir?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
This is how you can create these directories. Then again, you can copy the files into them. Now, the point is, in Linux, for NFS, we have a NFS server having a Linux operating system. If I'm saying of Linux terminologies, in Linux, and in that particular, that operating system will have a directory structure. In any of the directory, we can, if we can install, if we'll install NFS server on the Linux operating system, then what will happen, that particular package will use a particular directory whatsoever will be configured in that NFS server settings. So that particular directory can be mounted on other computer systems with their different operating systems, maybe Linux. So they can be, if how that can be done, we need to install NFS server on one of the server operating systems and NFS clients on various other client computer systems. Now NFS client will be configured in the similar fashion how NFS server is configured. NFS server configuration means I need to point out that what basically directories will be used by the clients. And now in NFS client configuration, I'll be showing that this particular server IP address is, I want these directories residing on this particular IP address server as a subdirectory of user1. In this subdirectory, I want these particular directories. Now, what will happen that the actual data will be residing on this server with the 3 directory structure name, or the files are here. Now, these both clients or multiple number of clients whatsoever will be configured, they can replicate, I can't say replicate, they can mirror image that data into their system. So whenever I'll be clicking the host one, or I'll be going on host one directory inside this configuration NFS client, it will be showing me, it will it will basically what do, it will take me to the NFS server's directory structure, and I can do operations over here. Now the operations are not being done here, operations are being done over here. In the similar fashion, other clients, the data will be residing there, operations will be done over there, and virtually a mirror image I can see over here. This is just a mirror image. So this is how NFS works. FTP works in different fashion. It will be transfer of data. Now here it is mirroring sort of structure. You understood what basically NFS is? Network file system.
Sir, yesterday I was reading about NFS. So there was one doubt that NAS, that is network attached storage, and
That is
NFS,
something
they are
different.
same, right?
See, now NAS, NAS, and SAN, these are different terminologies. NAS is network attached storage, and SAN is storage area network. Heard of SAN storage anywhere? No. So just give you a brief. NAS means all the storages whatsoever will be connected via a network. Means the thumb rule is NAS deals with files. Means FTP comes under NAS. This particular NFS comes under NAS. Okay. Now, what SAN is? SAN basically do a bit different way. Will do the things in a bit different way. What it will do? It will take the disk as a block. It will not treat the things as file systems. What it will do? It will use SCSI protocol. SCSI. You can write it out. SCSI is a protocol. What basically, you know, what is the structure of a hard drive? Tracks, sectors.
Yes, sir.
You know what track sectors are?
Yeah.
And how the data is being stored in our hard drives?
On those sectors, the data is like that plates that consists of the data. Yeah.
Perfect. And when data will be placed on hard drives, track sectors, there will be file system or file structure, master boot records. These are different. And afterwards, there will be file tables. So that file tables will be showing that on the hard drive, on particular sector, particular track, the file named XYZ is residing. So that will be a key value store. value will be what? The particular track number, sector number, where actual data is residing, and key will be the name of file itself. This is how our normally systems work. This is where file systems comes into play. May it be fat file system, may it be NTFS or any other, like ext will be used by Linux operating system, and NTFS is used by Windows operating system. That is universal sort of file structure. So now, if I want to transfer the data or use or leverage the data transfer techniques, one is to deal with files. Means I need to have the file structure replicated. In NFS, what I do, I use file systems, some partition table, and mount it on another client's file system partition table. So means I'll be dealing with files. In file transfer protocol, file tables will not be basically used. We will be copying the files itself. It is a bit more higher level. This is a bit lower level, means file systems are being, you can say, mounted. Now, on SAN storage, underlying tracks and sectors, blocks of data, they are being used by the clients, and the actual hard drive will be present on a SAN server. Now, file systems will be created over here, and logical volumes will be on the SAN storage server. A bit more lower level. Now we'll be dealing with the tracks and sectors, the blocks of data, and the blocks of data are being used, or the data packets will be used using protocol named SCSI, SCSI, Small Computer Interface. Okay, understood the basics of?
So, sir, if I've understood correctly, can I just repeat so you can verify?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, yeah.
there is a hierarchy level starting from FTP that sits
Mhm.
on NFS, which sits on NAS.
No. FTP don't sit on NFS. NFS is different way of communicating the files or data. And FTP is a different way of communicating files or data, and SAN is a different way. All have their different use cases.
Okay.
Means, if I'll be showing the difference between right SAN and NAS. Oh, NAS is different one. SAN is network that storage, both for network storage solution. SAN typically uses fiber channel connectivity. NAS typically uses into the network through the standard Ethernet connection. Now the thing is SCSI and iSCSI and this is NAS box with hard drives used to be as RAID arrays, and you can see file transfers. This is using network switch, and actual files will be transferring. So it will be giving the block level access to the drives, storage blocks, performance for rigorous demands, enterprise level applications. So different sort of. So this is not the case that SAN is underlying over that NAS is sitting. SAN is totally different topology with different use case. Where we need block storage, we need high speeds, we need data speeds at the highest possible rate. So that there comes SAN storage. And when we want the files to be transferred in a not exactly the hard drive resource utilization, then we use only NAS storage. So when you will be working on the, can say, on creating a infrastructure over on-premise systems, then you will come to know that when we will be configuring the operating systems, when we will be creating the operating systems on bare metal servers, in industry standard, normally the bare metal server don't have their own hard drives to be utilized as data stores for the VMs. The actual storage was being or is being used from a SAN storage box. And in data centers, we will be using particular SAN switches. SAN switches are network switches, what transmits the data from SAN storage to the bare metal servers. And they'll be highly redundant, fault tolerant switches. And for high availability, we will be having multi-pathing configured. Just write down these words: multi-pathing, SAN switch. Write down this, search on Google, you will get the whole picture how multi-pathing works, how multiple SAN switches can be configured, so that if in any case one of the hardware or switch fails, or any port of the particular bare metal server or one port of the SAN box, storage box, they fails, the other parts to have the data retrieval or data transfer, that will be present. So this is basically how enterprises use the SAN, and the reason they use SAN is multiple bare metal servers with multiple VMs over them can use a centralized storage. Means if one of my web server is dealing with a web page and is putting that particular data into a database somewhere, now any other machine like bare metal server which is hosting few other instances of that particular web server, means for let me take an example. In case of Facebook, normally capacity of a web server is defined by how much memory RAM we are using and how much processing power it has. So a normal bare metal server with 24 core of CPU, 24 cores of CPU means 24 individual CPU cores, and 256 GB of random access memory RAM can serve approximately up to 5,000 clients, 5,000 concurrent requests at a time. No, this is not a case that normally at a particular point in time only 5,000 people are accessing Facebook. At a time, millions of people will be accessing the Facebook. But my bare metal server, single bare metal server, can only give access requests resolved up to 5,000 people. So where other people will go? What they'll do, they scale out the things. They have the similar application installed on multiple bare metal servers or multiple servers, sort of thing. Now, if I have 1,000 instances of my similar application or same application, Facebook, so the concurrent user requests will rise up to, I have 1,000, 5,000, it will go up to millions. Now we can concurrently serve millions of requests. Now what point is all those web servers are basically serving their logic, the application logic, but actual data is residing somewhere else. The actual data is in some database. Now all the requests are coming. Maybe if I am requesting to Facebook at particular point in time, my request will go to server number 1, bare metal, and it will ask the database to update. Now, on the next day, if I'll be logging, my session request can always go to server number 229. Let us take an example. So that particular 229 will also need to have my data assessed, whatsoever I have saved in yesterday. So I need a central storage of database, what communicates with all the bare metal servers having the application instance. So this is the use case why we need SAN. Because in SAN, the central storage server will be communicating to multiple bare metal servers. Understood? Bit? Okay. So you can always write down these terminologies, search it out. If you have any doubt itself after you will be exploring the things, you can always reach me out. Perfect. Now coming on to the point, you understood basic NAS, NFS, you understood how HTTP works, In the similar fashion, FTP also works. HTTP, NFS, HTTP and FTP servers work in similar fashion. NFS is a bit different. My third point is DNS. Now, as we were discussing, in HTTP web server, the servers were given just basic IP addresses. IP addresses like my home address. If the client is requesting any of the web page, so he must know where to request, where the request should go. For TCP, if I am using HTTP protocol over, you can say, synchronous TCP networks, or maybe it will be UDP. So in any case, TCP is 18 number port is TCP. TCP. So it is connection oriented. So if my browser is wants to access a web page, so he must, or that particular browser must know where to put the request to. What is the address where the request needs to go? Address normally don't binds to the servers. To the servers, only IP addresses will be assigned. Like in my laptop, I have an IP address, what needs to communicate. So if I want to connect to internet, I will be having a IP address on my laptop over where my connection will be established. Perfect. Now the thing is, IP addresses are hard to remember. If as a user I want to connect to Facebook server to have my request served, and Facebook server is having some XYZ IP address. So if I want to connect to Facebook server, then I can't normally remember the IP addresses of lots of servers. So there comes in picture DNS, domain name server, where a human identifiable names like Facebook.com, Instagram.com, or India.in, anyway, those human relatable names, or what can be easily remembered by humans, those were being translated into IP addresses. So what is the basic role of DNS server? Basic role of DNS server is to translate the fully qualified domain name or URL, Uniform Resource Locator, or URI, Uniform Resource Identifier, to a IP address. IP address of the server serving the requests. So this is the basic usage or basic functionality of a DNS server. So now DNS servers, if we want to learn about DNS servers, so basic functionality is to create a zone where a fully qualified domain name or URL will be related to a record named IP address. There are two types of IP addresses. One is IPv4 and another one is IPv6. You understand what IPv4 and IPv6 is?
Yes.
Any one of you? Okay. So how many bits IPv4 is?
32.
And how many bits IPv6 is?
128 bits, I guess.
If we have IPv4, then what was the need of IPv4?
In order to accommodate larger
We have a
IP
limited.
addresses, larger networks.
Yes.
Yes.
In order to accommodate, because IPv6 is 32-bit, and we have more than billion of devices, which are global devices connected. Now, one problem comes into picture that 32-bit don't accommodate that much IP addresses, so that each and every IoT device or device connected globally will have a unique IP address. This was a big problem. So to solve that, we got a new IP addressing scheme named IPv6, having 128-bit, which will be having enough IP address space. This is the reason. So now, while using both, because both IPv6 and IPv4 are being used commercially now, our Geo Fiber connection gives us support of IPv6 stack. Normally we get IPv6 address by using while using Geo fiber connection. So if it is given both the this particular IPv6 and IPv2 both are working, no DNS, no again they because our servers will have few of the servers will have IPv6 addresses, may few have IPv4 addresses. So it must also accommodate both sort of translations. Means domain name to IPv4 address translation, domain name to IPv6 translation. Any what can be used. So in zones, we have domain name or URL address to be translated to IPv4 address. That record is known as A record. And if it will be translated to IPv6 address, that record will be known as quad A record. A record. Similar fashion, mail servers having IP addresses can be translated to a domain name like @gmail.com or @outlook.com or my on translab.io. So for that, we have MX records on DNS. These are various records: CNAME record, MX record, A record, triple A, quad A record. Had any of you heard of these records?
Yes, sir.
Gautam, you had heard of these things?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that is fine. No, you got the basic understanding of what DNS is. How to install DNS server? Simple fashion. You need to search how to install. Bind9 is basically DNS server for Ubuntu or Linux distribution. Very simple. Sudo apt update install bind9 something nslookup. You know what nslookup command is for in Linux?
Name server lookup.
Yes. To see that what particular record, what particular IP address is behind is being translated to the URL. Means if I am going to ping www.google.com or google.com, corresponding server which is serving Google's pages is this. Maybe this is a local domain basically, so it is not exactly this, but it will show the actual IP address. This is my DNS server's address 127. Now, see, the answer will be this is domain name and this is server's IP address. What is serving the thing? So NSLOOKUP is used to see what particular IP address is serving what particular URL. Translation basically. Okay. So this is how we can install simply Bind9. Now Bind9, after installation of Bind9, we need to configure it. This is how we configure. This is just a simple forwarder. If I want to incorporate my own server's IP addresses as own A record, quad A record, then I need to follow this document. Here it is given like that. My domain name is something, actual is something. Now I have A record means IP address. Add something, I have different IP address. If I'll give quad A record, then I need to give a IPv6 address. This is how the zone is created in that particular Bind9 DNS server. As I told you earlier in this session itself, what you people need to do, one team will go and install HTTP server, follow the documentation available on the internet itself. Another team will be installing this particular FTP server. Third team will be installing DNS server, follow the documentation. Just try how to search the documentation, proper documentation. This will be part and parcel of your learning. How to search internet search engines to get the proper documentation. Most vital thing what engineers need to be having a hands-on or perfection. Okay. Just go search how these things can be. What is the best documentation and easiest one what I can follow? Because in some cases, if you will not be able to relate the proper documentation what you need, you have hell a lot of you can say hallucinating documentations over internet that will off track you out. You need to perfect yourself to differentiate between hallucinating documentations and the actual one. That will come with the knowledge of the subject what you are doing. If you will be having the basic knowledge of the thing, then you can always differentiate the bad documentation from good documentation. Okay. The fourth team will be installing NFS server and clients, and they'll be doing that. After these teams install this particular, then DNS team need to configure the IP addresses of these HTTP and FTP web servers and need to create A records along with the name of people who shall have the servers. Like in my use case, if I want the website of Mayank to be provisioned or seen on my local area network, I need to just write mayank.translab.com. Then should show me Mayank's sample web page. And this will be responsibility of Gautam, maybe to configure the server, DNS server with proper this URL means mayank.translab.com to his IP address of web server. Understood what basically this task is all about?
Yes, sir. But sir, there is one doubt that is
Mhm.
like bothering because we are using virtual machines, the
Mhm.
virtual network card. Like
Mhm.
there is some gap that we are not getting. That is how the virtual network card will be
Mhm.
mapping to our network card. So the IP addresses are different on the host network card and on the virtual network card.
Okay. So the
So
your question
if you
is,
can help us with it.
Mhm. No, the question here is you have configured NAT on your VM on virtual machines. When you will configuring networking part, you will be configuring using NAT. If you will be using NAT, then you will get a different IP address from the host network. It will be a network address translated. Means if your office network is using 192.168.2 dot something, may it be 2 dot something as network address, you will be getting 192.168.2035 dot something, maybe like that. Different network. But if you will be using the bridge over there in your VM, then you will be getting the IP address assigned by DHCP of your parent network, means your office router. So you will be getting the IP address using two series. Okay, so the problem solved. You will be connected. Your VM will
Yes,
be
sir.
assigned to
Should be
similar.
to assign to bridge networks. And
Yeah,
sir, one
all
more
if
thing.
all yeah,
Mhm. Yes, sir. No, sir. Please finish.
yeah, if all the people in the teams will use similar bridge, then all VMs can communicate inside the office network without any issue. Okay. No talk.
Yes, sir.
What you
That addresses the issue. And sir, other one was like we are concerned if the office router is
Mhm.
like set to public or private network because like there should be in and outbound on the local network at least. So where
You
can
people,
we get that?
most of you people are on or in office itself. I
Yes, sir.
believe only two or three people are outside office. Barring them, all of you are in office.
Yes, sir.
So, no, so basically, if you will be on inside the office network, then it will be a flawless without any restriction network communication. Problem will be the with the persons who are not in office. They need rules to be configured on the routers and firewalls and all. They need
Like
the
sir,
VPN access also.
right way to check whether we all are like accessible to each other. We can ping each other's IP, right?
Yes, yes, yes. And I always have used the Bangalore network. It is open. You people can ping each other.
Okay. Sure.
No issue. Okay. All doubts cleared? Any other?
One more, sir. Actually,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
there
Sure.
is the resolve config on Linux's etc directory. There is one
Yes,
resolve config. So
yes.
that is changing with like each time the network fluctuates.
Okay. So why you are using this resolve.config directory on Linux?
Like,
in this
yes, sir.
particular task.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
If I consider DNS, it will be
Mhm.
using that file to like open the network using
When you
Bind9.
when you will be when you will be installing Bind9 itself now on your VM and you'll configure that particular, then what you need to do is then your Bind9 the web server or VM using on which Bind9 is installed, the IP address of that particular VM will be used as DNS server networking field in all other VMs. In in normal VMs, what I can do, I can have an IP address, I can have an subnet mask, and third field is DNS. Normally on Windows and Linux itself. No, normally Windows, the DHCP servers assign all these parameters. Like no, in your case also the DHCP server from the Office network, if you will be using this particular bridge network, they'll be assigning you dynamic IP address, which is DHCP based. Then it will be assigning you the subnet mark, and it will be assigning you the DNS, and that DNS will be the firewall's IP of Office, which is 192.168.2.1. That. No, you need to edit that 2.1 to the IP address of your DNS server, whatsoever you had installed Bind9. That is how your zones or your A records will come into picture. That will be then resolved it out. Now the whole infrastructure will work like that. Your IP DNS server, whichsoever you have installed on the VM, that will become intermediate to the internet network and the VMs. VMs always then come to your server's IP address to resolve the DNS record. Now, one thing you need to consider here is to make the system not break, to make the VMs not to break the DNS resolution, you need the forwarder on your DNS server activated. Means forwarder means all the DNS resolutions whatsoever you have created in zones, that will be given, the IP addresses will be given to the VMs, or else other resolutions means the resolutions for Yum repository, the resolutions for Google or any other, those will be forwarded to .2.1, means our Office actual DNS, or 8.8.8.8 means Google's DNS resolver. Means both things will work simultaneously. The internet resolution will be taken care of by 8.8 because all the requests whatsoever your DNS server don't know, it will forward it to Google's DNS, get the result, and will forward it back to the VM. And other resolutions like if you have created a FQDN resolution of translab.com, if any request with translab.com will come, it will resolve its own. Perfect. This is how the thing.
Thank you, sir. That was all. Yes.
Okay. So Gautam, to start, Gautam, your team will be taking care of Gautam. Your team will take care of DNS part. Install and configure DNS server is all about something. Perfect. And
Yes, sir.
perfect. And okay. Okay. And the team with Prakhar. Prakhar, correct?
Yes, sir.
Your team will take care of NFS server clients and different Linux VMs and configurations. NFS.
Okay, sir. Sure, sir.
Perfect. And the third one is no. Wait a second. No. 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 Prakhar, basically, I want the people at Bangalore office itself, because your team and Gautam management team member all are in what here? All are there at Bangalore office, na? No one from your
Yes, sir.
team.
In my team, two
So-
of them are in Jammu.
In your team,
Yes,
who
sir.
are
Upanshu and Nishant.
Okay, Upanshu and Nishant, they are in Jammu.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So then it will be fine for you with the NFS. And whose team members are at Bangalore itself? Or Mohammed
Saklan.
Saklan,
Yes.
all team members.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So Mohammed Saklan, you will be assigned task number 1: install and configure HTTP web server on Linux, Oracle Linux.
Okay, sir.
Because
Okay, sir.
Gautam Mani's all team members are there at Bangalore. Your team members all there at Bangalore. So you both will be collaborating to have the address resolutions also, and you all people need to be on similar networks.
Okay.
Perfect. So
Perfect.
Mohammed Sakleen is with task number 1, HTTP web server. Gautam Mani is with the task number 3 and a DNS server. Prakhar Khare is assigned task number
Task number
4.
4.
Perfect. And Mayank Sharma, you are assigned task number 2 because
Okay.
FTP and HTTP basically HTTP needs to serve the thing. FTP for FTP itself, because your 3 members are outside the location,
Yeah.
so not an issue. FTP will be taken care by you.
Sure, sir. Sure.
Understood?
Yeah.
Now I want each of you to message your task on the chat box itself here, so that we can have the track of this. Good luck to all the team members.
Thank you, sir.
Perfect. Good luck. So today is Friday. I believe
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
in our actual projects itself, computer industry, Friday is you can say very good day. After this, we'll be having two holidays. And normally in project management also, na, they assign heavy tasks on Friday. They want basically people to brainstorm on Saturday, Sunday also.
Saturday and Sunday they want brainstorm.
This is reality of industry. And what we want ourselves as, if X amount of tasks assigned to we people on Friday, we try to solve the things by end of day. This will make us fast. So that we have option to work on Saturday, Sunday, or to complete the task on Friday, end of the day itself, and then enjoy. This is how the things normally work in industry. So I hope most of you will be trying to complete the things by end of the day today itself. Maybe. Okay. Thank you. Thank you
So,
very
sir,
much.
we'll be showing you to you by
No,
Monday?
today is by Monday. By Monday itself, before 11 a.m. call at 10 a.m. we'll be having another call for 1 hour to review the things. What are the problems you have faced? What are the things had gone wrong, or what's the things. So at 10 a.m. on Monday itself, we'll be having a review call of the stars, and on 11 at 11 a.m. we'll be having the other call with next. Perfect.
thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you all.